are so excited to see you guys. My name is Mandy Tomasi, and
I'm Jordan Philbeck.
and we are with the Off the Grid.
Woohoo!
We're
Yay.
so excited to see you guys. Okay.
We're today's a little bit different. I'm going to start with that. I'm a little nervous, and I'm not a nervous person, but today I'm a little bit nervous because this one hits the heart, and I do have my notes. I'm completely a dork today. Thanks for jumping on and supporting. We so appreciate it. Hi, sis. Okay, so today's a little bit different. Mandy and I wanted to dive into exactly what it is that created and started and inspired us to do Off the Grid, to start what we have just begun this journey in 2020, which has actually been really cool. I was thinking about this today. So normally anything great is hard. Anything great is hard. And 2020 has been hard. It's been a year of change, and I feel like honestly, us fully starting this journey this year couldn't have been more perfect.
I agree. I think everyone, it's a worldwide emotion with 2020 I think if we can do anything, it resonates.
If you can accomplish anything this year and succeed,
everyone's experiencing it for sure.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in because this is it's going to be hard for me. So if you are someone that is dyslexic, if you have someone in your life that deals or struggles in school, if you're a mom, I will tell you, when this journey started for us, I'm a mom of 3 amazing kids, and I'll just tell you the perspective for me starting out and going into this, I couldn't have told you exactly what it was. And what's crazy is the definition that I would have given you of what dyslexia is that it is people that read backwards or that a word is flipped. And it was kind of taboo. I thought, not very many people deal with that. And that's what I thought from the beginning. So I want to read a quick definition of what dyslexia really is. A general term for disorders that involve difficulty in learning to read or interpret words, letters, or other symbols, but that do not affect general intelligence. Okay. Deep breath, because for me, I'm going to tell you when we learned about Hayden. So my son Hayden has dyslexia. I will get emotional, and I've cried enough today just preparing for this because I don't want to be that emotional, over the top mom, but I do want to speak to somebody today. I do want to speak to somebody that watches this back, that will go through this in life or experience it or see a sister go through this or a son go through this or a husband go through this, or you may not even know that you're affected by it, and it's going to change your life when you do find out, or when you find out your daughter or your son has this. And what I thought at the beginning was, you're telling me my son has something. You're telling me that something is wrong with my son. So initially learning about what it is, I was uneducated and super emotional, still emotional to this day because it affects our entire family. And I've luckily been able to have Mandy by my side through this whole journey to not only learn what it is, but know that I want to make a difference. Know that we can make a difference. And it's not just, hey, let's decide if, to make people more aware about it, or aware of it, but to truly make an impact. And I know that I'm living in Oklahoma for a reason. I know that God brought us here for a reason to make that impact. So I'm going to read for a second because I know that I'll get off track. Thank you for jumping on, but please, if you have a friend, I can think of 9 or 10 of my mom friends. Since starting this journey, they have reached out and said, oh my gosh, now I know why my daughter gets off the bus crying. Oh my gosh, I know why we're struggling in school. Now I understand what's going on. And so the more you can vocalize what your experiences are in life, the more you can help other people. So that's what we hope to do. We hope to bring light to the subject, to share what we're doing in our walk of hoping to bring more awareness to things in education that we're passionate about. Okay, so I call it a superpower. I call it a superpower because my son truly has superpowers that I don't have. And that makes me excited. So that's a positive. But I'm going to read because I'm a little bit emotional about this. So I was dreading today, and my husband even called and he said, Jordan, just embrace it. Embrace the journey, just like you've done this whole time. Don't dread it. Don't worry about it, because your whole goal is to inform somebody and hopefully bring light to what your family's going through, and to go along this journey with us and to bring change and more awareness to things that we're passionate about through this. Okay, so as a mom, this topic is really, really hard. But starting Off the Grid for us was a decision that we didn't just want to tell people about dyslexia. We didn't want to just educate ourselves. We want to truly make that impact. So I'll start by showing you something that we created in honor of Hayden, and it is It makes me cry. But it's our warrior T, and you can see that the word, so a lot of people say, oh, did you realize your words are backwards? And we're like, no, they're right. So when you take a selfie or when you look in a mirror, it's written correctly. And that is the purpose. You want your son or your daughter to look in the mirror, and guess what? We live in an age where there are selfies and where you look in the mirror more often than not, and you're speaking to people, and you want your kids to be confident and to believe in themselves. And so when he looks in the mirror, he loves this shirt. He knows he's a warrior, and it opens amazing conversation. And that's exactly what he is to me. He's my hero. Truly, he's my hero. Thought I had a lot figured out, and then I had a son, and he challenges everything about me. And so this is in honor of him. Okay, so I titled, or was thinking of titling this, that dyslexia is learning to turn off the world, to turn out the outside noise. So I want to tell you really quick stories. When this all started for us, and this is kind of how we identified it, and I hope that some of you that are probably experiencing this or that will watch this back and say, oh my gosh, that's what's going on with my kid. It's not that he's lazy. It's not that he doesn't care. It's not that something's wrong with him. It's that I'm not meeting the needs that he has, and he doesn't have the skill set to deal with what's going on in his life. And that for me was huge. But I said it's turning off the noise of the world. So Hayden came home one day, this was years ago, got off the bus and came running down the street, and he was in tears, and I thought something tragic. I mean, I was really upset, and I'm going to Ty, what's going on? Taylor, what's going on? Kids on the bus were like, Hayden's been so upset, and he ran straight to his room, locked the door, threw his bag all over the ground. I walked in, and he had his little hands on his head, and he was on the bed. And I was like, buddy, did something happen? Who hurt you? You know, I couldn't figure it out. And he was like, Mom, you just don't understand. You don't understand what's going on in my head. And we had to go from there to tutoring for after school. We've done tutoring for years. We started tutoring, was in pre-K. He was bawling and like gripping his little hair, and I'll never forget this moment. And this was the start of about 6 months of, I thought he was just depressed, and I couldn't figure it out. And he said, you have no idea how I feel, Mom. And it's like ants running around in my head. The whole world, it's like, I can't. And I said, honey, do you understand? He was like, no, I don't understand. I don't understand anything you're saying. And I don't understand anything that his teacher was saying. He said her name. I don't understand anything the tutor is doing with me. I don't understand why you're pulling me out at school all the time. It doesn't make sense. And everybody makes fun of me. And that's where our journey started. It took me back, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not just about struggling in school. This is not just about not understanding how to read. But what happened for us was in kindergarten, we started noticing some things. It was just, reading was a little harder. He wasn't getting his sight words as much, and not a big deal. First grade, those things started coming along. We do have fantastic teachers. Kindergarten teacher mentioned something. First grade mentioned something. Second grade mentioned something, and this real diving in happened about a year ago. And that's really when I got super involved, because it was just like, okay, I'll just take him to more tutoring. And that didn't help. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a traumatic injury. It's like, that's not going to help. That's not going to change anything. You got to take care of the problem. And so what I realized in seeing him fall like that and just crumble in front of me and start to lose what happened was he started to lose confidence. He wasn't happy. He cried all the time, begged me not to go to school every morning, every night. It was awful. I started noticing in sports, he fought us to go to practices. Learning plays is a nightmare. And
what grade was this that you started recognizing that with that heavy withdrawal from wanting to do things active within his peer group?
So first grade, we noticed it a little bit, started affecting friends. Okay. He would get really upset and just fight back at things, and that didn't make sense. Mm-hmm. It was like, why are you so angry? I don't understand. That doesn't even make sense. Mm-hmm. Do you think, and I'd have to get him kind of relaxed and really talk through that. Second grade. Okay, so start of second grade is when his amazing teacher she just changed our world,
That's one thing I have to say about teachers. They are whispers from the heavens. I mean, they are angels being sent to us. I really truly feel they have so much love and care for our children.
And I say that teacher, as we're his kindergarten and first grade, but that second grade year, when what happens is it's like, okay, we're all kids, we're going to recess, we're having fun, we're learning some basic words, to now it's serious. We got to learn some stuff because next year's third grade. We've got to grasp these concepts. And so I saw his little friends just continue to kind of go along the normal path, and some excelling and some struggle, but it was like that gap got bigger for Hayden, and it was just more and more of, I started noticing it, so I knew he felt it. So for us, what really inspired this, and I hope somebody hears this and understands that it is not your child, it is not something you are not doing, because I immediately took it as a hit to mom, me as a mom. Like, what am I not doing for my son? And why is he sad? And I'm not offering him the right resources. And I wish I had this or that, or had more money to put him here and this. It was this self-defeat. And so I went through watching him. I can tell you the day it started and the day I truly think that it ended, because it was like, oh my gosh, this is working. But I can tell you during that time, I questioned myself even more, which made it much more of a struggle, because he saw me sad. It was like I literally would go to bed with him and he'd cry himself to sleep during this time. And so I'm going to tell you some things that that helped us, okay? Because I could go on and on, but I want to read you a couple of quotes. One from a doctor that we worked with on identifying it. And this was this: I don't think people understand, well, this is just one of them that aligned with what Hayden said. I don't think people understand how stressful it is to explain what's going on in your head when you don't even understand yourself. And he said this to me. So our journey, let me say this really quick. So in Oklahoma, it is recognized, but it's not recognized. Like, they're not able to implement anything in schools, which is it's awful. It's a tragedy. It truly changes a lot for kids. And one of the things that Mandy and we don't only want to bring awareness to this, again, for me, it's not that. It is, I want the whole classroom to change, because if 20%, 25% of kids are dealing with this, and they say that there could potentially be closer to 50, it's just they're unidentified. And there's varying ranges of students that struggle with it. So can you imagine if you had a classroom full of empowered children versus a divided classroom, versus a classroom where, Bobby Sue over here and Mary are going to GT or Excel, and you're over here and you're going to speak. If everybody had a different had a plan, everybody had a plan, and that plan was no better or worse than everybody else, but it was a plan specifically for you. And that's what we found in other states, that they're offering more for students like that. Like, if you come in and you are dealing with dyslexia or speech, here's your path, and we are prepared for that. And so I'm hoping that through this we'll be able to show parents that, hey, you're okay. We can all get through this together. There's resources. We're digging for more and more of those resources. You have to stick together, and you can make an impact early on in their life. These kids can be successful. And to be honest, I feel like he's much more of a brilliant human being than I am. Oh, I mean, he's just, but his heart and his head's not there yet. It's just, he doesn't see his gifts yet, but I'm helping him see those. And I think with all of us together, we can all do that, and we can have a much stronger world to live in. I agree. When it starts when they're babies. Okay.
I love that all of us were given superpowers, and 100%. I love that this was his.
Me too. But to teach that and to show that, it's really hard. It's really hard.
But so inspiring though too, because just his personality and him as a human being, how caring and loving and wonderful that he is. He's going to be such a beacon of light to all of his friends. People are going to want to know more about it. It's bringing awareness. It's not that it's something that should be hidden underneath the rug. Exactly. It's that let's talk about it. Yes. Just like with most things in life, like let's just talk about it. As soon as we talk about it,
and awareness is not taboo. No. The more people that know about it, it's not odd. It's not weird. It's not, he's used the word weird. He's like, why am I weird? And I'm like, you're not weird. No, I'm weird.
Aunt Mandy's weird.
Mommy doesn't even understand you. I mean, no, you don't want to be normal. That's the thing I always say to him. I'm like, no. He's like, I just want to be normal. That's his newest thing. I'm weird and I just want to be normal. No, you do not. You do. We are all made differently. We are all have God-given talents and gifts, and you are amazing. And I'm not just saying that as your mother. And so that brings me to this. So one of the things that really inspired me, lit a fire, brought out the mama bear. So if you're a mom and you haven't experienced this yet, I just want you to be prepared, because your voice is the most powerful piece of the puzzle. No matter where you live, letting people know what your kid needs. That's the gift you're given, is to be their voice. And you've got to be their voice until they can be their voice. But there was someone in our path that we crossed in the last couple years not a teacher or anything, someone he was working with for extra help. And she made the mistake of telling me how lazy and not all there, very rude words were said. And I said, you don't understand my child. And I believe Hayden has dyslexia. I believe, it's hard for me to say that. I believe he has dyslexia. And she was like, no, he doesn't. And I'm a great person. I'm a great tutor. I've done this for 40 years, And I said, you just called my son lazy to his face. Words are powerful. And this might be why you see us preach that and live that every single day, because it absolutely can devastate. Words are powerful. And so from that meeting, y'all, if you know me, I was sweating. I was sitting there going, you just insulted my baby. And I know how, if my kids do something wrong, I'm the first person to take care of that. But if you are labeling my child with the lack of education on how to help him, you've just said the wrong things. And so what I did, and this is for those of you that may live in a place that doesn't have the necessary resources for you, go find it. So that's what we did. We went and found it, which is a part of, I want to do a series and kind of show you our steps on things we've done. But the quick story on that is we went and found someone that was able, outside of the school system and area, you can go to different states and whatnot and have someone test you. So we did that twice, and it all lined up because I couldn't really quite follow the first one. Went and did it again, took that all to this person, and I said, this is what I'm dealing with. And the things you've said have created a problem, and now we are going to work to fix that. And so I got really serious about that. I mean, that's something he'll never forget. He could tell you right now, and that was 2 years ago, and he's a baby, So this was something I learned from that. Was it a challenging behavior in dealing with him, or was it the lack of skills to handle the situation? And I think about that a lot, and I have to learn to be more patient. So things I've done as a mom in this process is understand I'm not going to approach anything like he does. It was really hard for me. Like even doing math homework, it's, if you're struggling there's a reason. If you're struggling with you cannot learn these words, we've done it a million times. I said those things. What is wrong with you? What are you doing? We've done this 100 times. And I learned after meeting with this person and taking all of us as a family to say, how do we help and how do we become better? Because we need help in this process. First off, those words. That's what she said. Everything you say to him. In fact, people that have dyslexia, they are more apt, their personality type, to need words of affirmation, to need extra love, to need extra attention, and to need less chaos. And what I realized was there was way too much chaos in our life and way too much let's go, let's go, let's go. When he does something a certain way does not mean anybody else in the house is going to do it that way or approach it that way. So that was eye-opening for me. I say this out loud because I have to say it out loud to process it as a mom. I say my son has dyslexia and my son has ADHD. So in that process, we also learned not only was he struggling with the words jumping around and things happening on the page and school being difficult, but he could hardly sit down and focus. So can you imagine? I have to think about that, how frustrated he's been all these years when I've been like, come on, let's do this. But his little brain is everywhere. And so when he came and said, you don't understand, I truly didn't understand. I did not understand. And yet I'm trying to heal or put a Band-Aid on what I didn't understand. So we needed those resources. We needed that help. And that's hard. It is. As a parent, you don't know what to do. So for those of you that may watch or want to help someone that doesn't have the help in this area, one of the reasons Mandy and I want to also make an impact in this area is it's expensive. Getting the help for dyslexia for us, I'll tell you at first it was, and this is really important, his current therapist, who happens to be Mandy's cousin, she's amazing. She's changed our life, truly.
Love her.
Truly, she sees his gifts, like instantly.
Yes.
So we did tutoring for years. We did eye therapy for a long time. It was $10,000 to do eye therapy. And I tell you that because the first couple of people we talked to just said, oh, he has convergence. Oh, it's just his eyes. That's all it is. No, you're wrong. It's not dyslexia. He's just lazy and he needs glasses. And that's what we started with. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went down this rabbit hole of eye therapy, getting glasses for him, doing extra tutoring. We were doing tutoring every day. So I went down this rabbit hole, and then eventually it was like the slap in the face of him screaming out like, no, you don't understand. So that's what led us to the testing, and we did the second testing, and then we did Dyslexia Center for a year, which was amazing, and they helped him so much in just centering and being able to go back to the basics. And so now with working one-on-one with Stacy, having someone certified with Orton Gillingham, for example, they go back to the basics with him. For me, it was like, oh, let's just start where we're at and keep going. No, for him, he needed to go back. Mm-hmm. We have to relearn. It's a language issue. And in an ordinary school system, and a lot of people say, well, just send him to private. You'll get, no, that's not the case. That's another myth. It is a myth. It is go where the resources are at that meet the needs of a dyslexic child. And so that was our journey for years, and I want to expound on that and help any of you with those questions. But the thing that I was going to say about Mandy and I is we want to bring awareness, and we want to be able to help people that can't get the help they need. Mm-hmm. And it will change the world. Like, I cannot imagine being told that's what our issue was. ADHD, I mean, that's expensive, or dyslexia, or any speech issue, which is something we're also looking at, and not be able to help my son. You know, that is the impact, financial impact. So if you're in a place that offers that, that's amazing. But it's not about just letting the school system take care of your child. We've learned to take care of things at home too, in a different way, and to stretch ourselves and to grow ourselves. I wanted to read something. Hold on one second. Okay, this is one of the things that we learned in one of our sessions, and this is really important. Dyslexia isn't just about an IEP, an individual education plan, or accommodations, modifications. It's a way of learning. So for me, the first time that the woman's name was Barbara, she said that to me. I said, oh yeah, he's got modifications. He's on a 504. We get extra time. She said, you're not hearing me. It's not just about an IEP, modifications, and accommodations, Jordan. It is about a way of learning. So it is different. It is not just, I need extra time, I need less problems. That's great, because it takes them 5 times as long to read something or to comprehend something. For Hayden, it's seeing it 8 times versus Taylor seeing it 1 time. It's different. You learn completely different. It is like a different language, truly. It really is. The more and more we've researched about it. So if you're looking for resources, go Google. Seriously, I've got a couple I've listed too, but the more you educate yourself as a mom, the more empowered your son or your daughter will be, because they see the confidence in you. So for me, instead of saying, oh yeah, this is what I did. Hey, at school, they're taking care of it. He's on IEP, modifications, accommodations. You're not hearing me. He needs a way of learning, a different way of learning. Stacy has been able to teach us that. Penny from the Dyslexia Center caught me on that multiple times. No, Jordan, take this to them. This is what his teacher needs to read. And then his teacher met us halfway. It was amazing. And I asked her to. So that's the other thing, is go to your schools and say, here's what I have. I need you to meet me halfway. I'll do this at home. I'll do whatever it takes. But I need you. You know, I need you. And that's that ask. Thank y'all for jumping on. Okay, I want to read something. I'm going to pass it. Mandy, I'm sorry.
No, you did not at all.
Okay, a little shift can make a big impact. So if you are lucky to have this superpower, that's awesome. If you're not, like me, I'm not lucky. I truly believe that. I think the most brilliant humans, the more I've read and learned, and I know you were going to share something about that too, it just shows you that it's cool. I mean, it's amazing. And I want him to see that one day, and I want him to be able to be empowered by the gifts that he has and sees things, the big picture, and I don't see those things. Mm-hmm. I don't have the ability to, just like he doesn't have the ability to think the way I do. But a little shift can have a big impact. So, for example, saying things like, he takes a long time. You could say, man, you are such a deep and careful thinker. Like, that is just so amazing.
I love that.
Instead of saying you are so hyperactive and drive me crazy, you can say you're so enthusiastic and you're so eager. I wish I had more of that. Instead of he's defiant or doesn't listen, the same point can get across. You could say you're so strong in your opinions and you're so strong in your beliefs. Tell me more about that. Inverse is that let's put a cap on it and shut you down. Let's see what's good about that, because I need more of that, and let's twist it to be amazing and really cool. Instead of, which we've been told, Tim and I, he's super impulsive, and I just don't, very frustrated person that dealt with him, and I was like, you're just not the right person for us, and that ended. But those were the words I needed to hear. I will tell you, I was very angry for a while about that, but what I've learned is it took the, okay, you just made the wrong person mad to want to make a difference. And it took Hayden getting so frustrated. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for your children or for your friends. Because I promise you, if we know about 25% of people that are struggling in this area, there's a whole lot more. Because if I hadn't pushed for that, we wouldn't be identified. Mm-hmm. That's how crazy it is. Instead of saying unfocused and annoying, he pays attention to so many things. His brain is, you are so brilliant, and you thought about things I never would have thought about. But I tell you, I use this side versus this side for a while because I was thinking and teaching and showing and demonstrating life through my lens, not his. A shift in perspective, a shift in understanding, a shift in how I react, a shift in how the child reacts is everything for someone that is struggling. And instead of letting them know they have a struggle or a problem or something different, it can be that you have something amazing about you. You are so cool. You are, I mean, it's just crazy how that shift, it changes the whole perspective, the whole perspective. So I just think it's really amazing how a shift in a word can change the impact of their entire life. I'm forgetting the name. Someone may watch this and see it, but there's a doctor that specializes in dyslexia. I'll put it back in the comments here in a little bit. And he talks about how one positive word in a distressed dyslexic child, a child with dyslexia, there's someone that has dyslexia. Always, I feel like I say it the wrong way grammatically. But the one right word in a monumental moment, he uses the word of like when they're trying to make a shift, they're trying to look to learn and grow. The right word in the right moment can be an impact for the rest of his life. And his talk was about how he remembers as an 8-year-old child struggling with dyslexia, or that he was dyslexic, or never goes away. Something else I wanted to fix and it wouldn't go away. He'll never forget that. And he said, that's what changed my life. I went from depressed and sad to empowered, saw my gifts, and then he followed through with what that person said to him as an 8-year-old. And so my hope and my prayer is that we can do that with another quarter of our world or more. That if we can show them that, hey, you're actually the lucky one. Hey, you're the amazing one, and bring more awareness to this issue, that you are going to be better. I'm a much better mom than I was even a year ago. And, as a mom, you just want them to be great, and you don't want to hear anything bad. And I know my story's not special. I know that. I don't think our life is special in the sense that it deserves light. I simply mean I want to bring to light what has affected our family in hopes to make your life better, in hopes to make a difference for all of our kids. It is genetic. It is typical, and it's a myth is that it's more in boys than girls. That's not true. I did learn that today. If you look at the Oklahoma Handbook for Dyslexia, they do have information you can check out there. But Mandy and I want you on this journey with us. We want you part of our community of lifting others up and loving people in general. And what we find is that when you can empower other people, the biggest effect is on yourself. I wore this top specifically today. It says loved backwards. Because I've learned that if I could give Hayden anything, if I could give my children anything, if I could give the love to one of our dear friends that just found out, it's like it's so, you don't want to say they're dyslexic because you don't want that journey, that pain to start for them. Truly, I cry every time I hear about it because it's, that it's about to be a journey. It's not just, it'll be okay next week. It is just life. Like, you are going to be an overcomer. You're going to be amazing the rest of your life because you've analyzed it. But I just, I want to read you this one last thing from Kim Payne. She is not a occupational therapist, I believe is her title. We'll be out in a second, baby. Okay, with simplification, we can bring an infusion of inspiration to our daily lives. We can set a tone that honors our family's needs before the world's demands. I loved that. It's taking care of the home before you meet the needs of what the school needs from you or what the world says you're supposed to be. And if you take care of that at home, it changes everything. It allows our hopes for our children to outweigh our fears, realign our lives with our dreams for our family and our hopes for what childhood could and should be. Because what I've learned is that in this process, Hayden has had to grow up a little bit faster. He's had to understand that there's something going on when you don't want your baby to even think about things. And I've had to explain that to him, that it's not a bad thing. We're trying to see his gifts early on so that he can be successful for life. So I feel like being his mom is the biggest blessing in the world. I do. I feel like it
was for a purpose.
Yeah, the hard things are for a reason, and God will hopefully continue to use me as a vessel for Him to show Him that the hard things are better, and that when you work hard for something, you're an overcomer. It's not about you. It's about the life you're building and about the people you're affecting. So that's my hope. That's my hope through the process of his struggles. And I can't wait for the day that he sees that he sees that, hey, I can make an impact. Hey, I can do good in this world. And he says all the time, it's funny, I've found that in analyzing and saying, what is it you love and what is it you're passionate about? And if you read about someone that has that type of gift, it's typically architecture. It's they love to build. They love to create. They're entrepreneurial. And I've learned with him, the artist, that I'm so boring. I'm like, here's what I know. Here's what I know. But with Hayden, it's like, how did you think of that? Why did you do that? I mean,
there's so much depth.
There's so much depth.
And that's what when I think about, people always say they're like an overthinker, or like even like with anxiety, they're constantly all over the place. I'm like, my gosh, that is such a superpower, because you're channeling so many different parts of the brain. Yes. The fact that you overthink shows empathy. It shows that you care. There's so many other aspects of that is such a gift.
Yes.
I would rather be an overthinker than to be complacent just to be. Life. Mm-hmm.
He's a challenger.
Yeah.
Overcomer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that letter? I wanted to.
Yes.
I wanted to read this just really quickly. I found it really awesome. So she was, I believe, a high school student. Do you have the article?
That one.
The New York Times.
Yes.
So it was in the New York Times today. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
And it was talking about, hi girls, hi Mandy, hi Katie. Oh, it's so true. Gosh, it's our friend Mandy. Okay, go take your tie. I'll be done in a minute. Thank you, Katie. Yes. Okay, yes. So this was in the New York Times today, and it was called "Switching Letters, Skipping Lines, Troubled and Dyslexic Minds."
Which I find it to be so amazing that, considering we were doing our live today,
yes,
and this was the article in the New York Times. That to me, that makes it
speaks volumes.
Yes. It's
okay.
Such a God deal.
God deal, 100%. Okay, so this student that wrote this was a middle school student. I'm just going to read one little part, so give me just a second if I can find it.
It should be right there. Here.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
See? Okay. See? Okay, so let's see here. Let me go down to the part that I found impactful. Okay, what is dyslexia? I didn't know until 2015 when I was faced with the truth as to why I wasn't progressing in school. I had been given interventions through a program called Title I, which helps kids who don't have access to books or reading in their homes. But it wasn't working for me. I had plenty of books. I just couldn't read them. I think about that with Hayden. It's like putting a cat in water, What I needed were interventions that would work for me. Many people think that dyslexia is just switching letters. In my case, and that of many other dyslexic people, switching letters is only a small part of the bigger issue. A recent study suggests that the brains of dyslexics do form accurate neurological representations of language sounds. This is the part. This would explain why a dyslexic learner comprehension is so much higher than their reading ability, which is what we found in Hayden. That huge discrepancy was that. In other words, a dyslexic student could understand Harry Potter, but not be able to read a small word like "the." In order for a dyslexic student to succeed, correct interventions could be applied early in school. While it might be true that some schools acknowledge dyslexia, most schools don't. In my case, it wasn't until 3rd grade that I started to get the right interventions. The delay made me become a stronger reader, becoming a stronger reader especially challenging. I don't blame my teachers for this. Teachers don't recognize dyslexia or interventions because they aren't prepared to. One-on-one intervention is almost never an option in public school system, but it is necessary for a dyslexic student to succeed. So I wanted to end that, and I want to continue the series on this and hopefully bring a lot of great information, but I want to end with that. It's lots of times it's not that people don't want or schools don't want, it's that there's the lack of education and awareness around it and the ability for them to meet the needs of the students or the resources there at the schools. And so that's where we want to come in. We want to make that, we want to bring enough awareness, and we need your help. We need your help in doing that, and just sharing stories with us and showing us and inviting others to follow along with us. If you know anybody that does struggle in this area or that would be a great resource for us, please tag them and tell them or send this to them. But I really believe that if we can recognize it more often, bring more awareness to it, and my hope is that we're going to show the world that we can have a much stronger world when we recognize this as a winning thing, as a superpower, as it's not a problem in our world. It's actually a gift, and they can make our world much better. And when you do that early on, that's the key. When my son is empowered, I know the days he's empowered, and when he feels good about himself, the teachers are going to love it, the other students are going to benefit from it, his friendships are going to benefit from it, and it all starts with how we love them and feed them the knowledge and empower him and put that in front of him. But I wouldn't have known to do that a year ago if it hadn't come to a head. So, yeah.
So I think that just tying into it, just saying as a family unit, as a friendship unit, as a community, as humans, we want to embrace all of this, and the whole purpose behind living off the grid.
Amen.
We're living off
differently
the grid.
Exactly. He does. We tell him that. I tell him that all the time.
We're doing it as a team. It's go team.
It's go team. I'm like, honey.
We're all going to live off the grid. Hayden.
Amen. Seriously.
We're jumping on with
We're going with you, buddy. He lives off the grid. He does. He lives differently and more bold and teaches us that.
And he teaches us every single day.
Every day. Mm-hmm. It makes me, it's hard. I will tell you that. It's not like I'm just over it. It's just knowing that everything in life is going to be just a little harder. And he's going to work a little harder, and he's going to be a little stronger, and that's going to develop him into this amazing man. And the byproduct is I'm going to become a decent mom in the process.
I'm just so excited to see what he is going to become. Because it's such a gift. To me, my mind just goes, and just gets so excited, like, oh my gosh, what is he going to do?
Exactly.
I went along for the ride.
Me too.
Take me.
I was thinking way too small in college.
I know.
He has too many plans already.
Oh my gosh, I'm moving in. He doesn't realize it. It means he's going to be in the dorm room.
Yes, and that is his newest thing to say, oh, well, I don't necessarily need college. I heard that I can go do this. And I'm like, no. I want you to go have fun, too.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
But he's like, Mom, but I have all these plans. I'm going to own all these businesses. And
so
he just thinks big. And I'm,
We can all learn from him.
Yes, to think bigger, more bold, off the grid.
Off the grid.
Okay, thank you guys for joining us today. We love you, and this is just the beginning. And if you're hanging on and you're like, give me something to leave with, one of the things I want to give you is go to understood.org. We'll give you so much information, and it will make you feel empowered and make you feel that you're learning tools to help your child, which gives you the ability to feel like, I'm telling you, I went from feeling awful to a decent mom. I mean, I'm working on that. I want to provide him more love, and I can give more when I learn more and when I grow. And so I've taught him that. I'm like, I'm learning every day with you, buddy. I'm learning every day that you're actually in a better spot than me, and you're stretching me, Yes. And
so
next,
what was the website again?
www.understood.org.
Understood.org.
And then Dyslexia Empowerment Plan is a book that I really want to read. I've gotten lots of recommendations on that. And really cool, Dyslexia Empowerment Plan. So empowering and loving and leading and becoming this warrior. So if you know a warrior, go tell them. Go show them. I mean, how powerful is that to see that across your chest?
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
I know.
Okay. Yep. That's all we got, y'all. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Yes, so this was our series. This is our through the OTG lens, and today we're discussing dyslexia, and this is only the beginning of this very powerful topic, and that is part of our mission moving forward with the off-the-grid.life.
Yes. Okay, we'll see you guys next Thursday.
We'll see you next
Thank you. Bye.